My brothers and sisters, what is going on? Steel Sermon in the house. Early Tuesday morning with another video. Week 11 picks on the board, man. As I did not have a good week in week 10. 7-7. I mean, still a 93-57 record on the year is a real strong record. But I did not have a good week. And it mostly has to do with a couple of things. Vegas, I have no confidence in them whatsoever anymore. They're just a real bad team. The Falcons are who I thought they were. Let's see, who else? The Rams have to be the worst defending champions I've ever seen in my life. And it looks like Philly's soft schedule finally caught up to them, as I said last week. So yeah, I mean, just a real bad week altogether. I'm not going to complain about one bad week. Just not a good start to the second half of the season. Still a whole lot of season to go. But yeah, there's always room for improvement. I got to do better than that. My goal for each week is to get at least 75% of my picks right. That's my goal. On the season so far, I'm just over at 62%. So I got to up my game here, man. But yeah, a 500 week, not good. Not what I had in mind, especially after 5 great weeks of pick'em. I need to do better. So yeah, looking at these slate of games, there are some tricky ones to go by, as we'll get into it. But yeah, these are week 11. But first, my week 10 biggest winners and losers. And now for my biggest winners, I have to tell you, this one was a really hard one to decide for me. So I actually have a tie for my biggest winners. My biggest winners this week is a tie between Jeff Saturday and the Minnesota Vikings. Jeff Saturday gets hired as the Colts head coach when he literally had zero coaching experience at all prior to that. Pretty much gets hired at the 11th hour for the Colts. And then in his debut as a coach, the Colts beat the Raiders in comeback fashion. I know Vegas is a real bad team, but for this guy to have no coaching experience at all, and his team plays their hearts out because they know they wanted to get this dub for Jeff Saturday, that deserves a lot of respect from me right there. So yeah, a big win for the Colts right there. And I'm honestly rooting for Jeff Saturday. I hope he does well. I hope that, things go right for him and that, he proves that he could be a solid head coach for the Colts. So, yeah, I'm rooting for Jeff Saturday here. Real good win by Indianapolis. As for the Vikings, not only were they down 24-10 to the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo, but they rallied. They limited Buffalo in the second half. They had that crazy ending in regulation in the fourth quarter where the Vikings were stopped short at the goal line. Then the Bills fumbled in their own end zone and was recovered for a touchdown. Not before Justin Jefferson made one of the most unbelievable catches you'll ever see. George Pickens, I hate to say it, man, but you might have some competition for catch of the year. That was just an unbelievable catch by Justin Jefferson. Vikings kick a field goal in overtime to make it 33-30, but 2 costly interceptions by Josh Allen sinks the Bills for 2 straight losses. And don't look now, but the Bills are 3rd place in the AFC East. I still think the Bills will be okay, but Minnesota, they just showed why you cannot sleep on them. They are a really good team. Dalvin Cook with a big touchdown run against them. Receiver stepping up big time. Defense coming through in the clutch. And Kirk Cousins proving that he's a winner. Minnesota, when the playoffs come, the Vikings are going to be a really tough team to beat. I like this Minnesota Vikings team, and they are 8-1, man. So those are my 2 biggest winners for Week 10. Biggest loser. If you're expecting me to say the Las Vegas Raiders, sorry to disappoint. Because, honestly, at this point, I just expect stuff like this to happen to the Raiders. So, I'm not even going to pencil them in as biggest loser. But my biggest loser for Week 10 are the Dallas Cowboys. That's an inexcusable loss right there to Green Bay. You're up 28-14 on them. all you have to do in the fourth quarter is shut them out or just play regular football, and victory is yours. You let them come back because your defense can't stop anything. Then overtime comes, and Mike McCarthy shows why that he was fired in Green Bay. Instead of kicking a long field goal on 4th and 4 to give the Cowboys the lead and for what could all intents and purposes be the win, he instead tries to get the first down on one of the most laughable play calls of all time. And then Green Bay promptly marches down the field, shreds Dallas's defense, and Mason Crosby does it to the Cowboys once again with a game-winning field goal. I mean, that's just an inexcusable loss for the Cowboys right there. They could finally have conquered their demons with beating Aaron Rodgers. Instead, they choke it away. And the Dallas Cowboys, I think they're in a little bit of trouble as far as the playoff hunt goes, because that NFC East is starting to get really good. I honestly wouldn't even sleep on Washington at this point, and you'll see why in a little bit. But yeah, just a real inexcusable loss by the Dallas Cowboys right there. They're my biggest loser for Week 10. So yeah, that'll do it. Those are my biggest winners and losers for Week 10. As I transition now into Week 11, as always, the standings are now final for the season. So if you're looking to join the tournament, you're going to have to wait till next year. But yeah, these are my Week 11 picks. And remember, you only need score predictions for spread predictions now. But these are my Week 11 picks. And let's get things started as we head on up to Lambeau Field as the Tennessee Titans take on the Green Bay Packers on Thursday night. Well, same old story with the Titans. A 17-10 win over the Denver Broncos. The thing with the Titans, I say it almost every week with them. They can't close out a game. It's been a recurring theme for them. They have their opponent, down big. They can never truly finish them off. They have to rely on the other team making a mistake and Tennessee just, kneeing when they have it in prime position to win. That doesn't translate to winning football. I mean, you can get away with that against teams like Houston, maybe Indianapolis, and maybe Jacksonville. But against elite competition, you ain't going to do that. And I would think regardless of who the Titans start at quarterback for Thursday night, whether it's Ryan Tannehill or Malik Willis, Tennessee, I just don't think they're going to be able to match up as far as offense goes. Their defense is going to keep them in the game as best they can because, let's face it, Aaron Rodgers has not had a good year this year. But the second biggest problem, they're on a shortened week, and they're going to Green Bay to face Aaron Rodgers there, who is nearly impossible to beat in prime time. So, the Packers have been in this situation before where they were on a shortened week, and while I can't say that I'm completely sold that the Packers are back, I just can't see how they lose this game. I know I said last week that I wasn't going to pick the Packers to win until they prove to me they can win a couple games in a row. But it's just the Titans, the way they struggle to close out games, and now they're having to go up to Lambeau to play in one of the toughest venues in primetime. I think this honestly spells recipe for disaster for the Titans. This is a trap game right here for Tennessee, and I think Green Bay just has a little bit of a hotter hand coming in. I think they can ride momentum coming in this one, and I think they're going to fight fire with fire here. Titans are going to counter with Derrick Henry, as the Packers should counter with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. If they get those two involved, Green Bay has a real good chance at winning, and I think that's what will happen. I'm going to go with the Cheeseheads up there to get their second straight win with a victory over the Tennessee Titans. Next, we have a candidate for what could have been Toilet Bowl of the Week, but I have a much more deserving one of that one, and we'll see it in a little bit. But we got the Chicago Bears and the Atlanta Falcons. This one is down in Atlanta, as the Bears are all of a sudden putting together a really solid offense. Justin Fields is playing phenomenal football so far. I think the Bears have their guy. And you know the NFL is strange when an Ohio State quarterback is making a name for himself in the NFL. That's how strange the season's been. Justin Fields, I mean, it's not like it's Lamar Jackson where he absolutely has to use his legs as a keen instinct and that's his first choice. But Justin Fields is capable of using his legs to get out of a sticky situation when he's faced under pressure. So I like how Justin Fields is playing. Too bad Chicago's defense is letting them down big time, because now they don't have Roquan Smith, and the Bears are just a mess on defense right now. But, their opponent, Atlanta, they're not a good defensive team at all either. Atlanta is one of the worst pass defenses in the league. Their offense got silenced by Carolina, and they should have gotten swept by Carolina. They lost on Thursday night to the Panthers. They let P.J. Walker and the run game run all over them. Atlanta just is not a good defensive team. And I really can't believe Atlanta is favored in this game simply because of the record matchup. So, right off the bat, second pick of the week, I'm going upset. Give me the Bears to pull off the upset here. I like Chicago in this matchup. I think their offense is rolling right now, and I think they're going to take advantage of a real bad Falcons pass defense here, and I think Justin Fields has a really solid game here. I just don't think the Falcons do very much, and I think they drop another one. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears to pull off the upset here, snap their losing streak, get back in the W column. Give me the Chicago Bears to beat the Atlanta Falcons, my upset of the week. Next, we got the Cleveland Browns heading on up to Buffalo to play the Bills. As the Browns got absolutely dismantled by the Dolphins down in Miami on Sunday as expected. The Browns are just not a good team. I really don't think it matters who they have at quarterback right now, whether it's Jacoby Brissett. I don't even think Deshaun Watson can make much of a difference. The Browns are just not a good team. They really aren't. Buffalo Bills. I don't know about Josh Allen coming in this one. He may still be a little roughed up, but I just don't expect him to be 100%. I mean, he played well considering that he was not fully healthy in that Vikings game, but still, Josh Allen played well. I mean, those 2 interceptions killed him, though. They were both to Patrick Peterson, but still the Bills, I mean, they're still a really solid team altogether. Devin Singletary, I think that has to be the meat, or I think he has to have a good portion of Buffalo's offense there. And I think the Bills are still just a real well-oiled machine when it comes to offense. And going up against Cleveland's defense that just seemingly can't stop a nosebleed. Again, I just think that this is more recipe for disaster here. I think the Bills win big. I think Josh Allen is going to come in real ticked off. I mean, the Bills have lost 2 straight games. And if you saw Josh Allen in his press conference after the game, he was real angry. He was real upset. So the Browns, they're going to have to go up against a real pissed off Buffalo Bills team coming in this one. I like the Bills big time here. I think they rebound, get the job done over the Cleveland Browns. Give me the Bills to beat the Browns. Then we got the Philadelphia Eagles, who are no longer undefeated. They lost to the Washington Commanders on Monday Night Football in Philly in front of a packed house. And they are going now out to Indianapolis to play the Colts, who, as I said at the beginning of this video, hired Jeff Saturday at the 11th hour, and they get it done over the Las Vegas Raiders. So, what's the storyline for this one? I don't know the story about Jonathan Taylor, but I think if the Colts are to have any chance at all at winning this game, they got to have Jonathan Taylor be the offense here. Because the Eagles, they could not stop that run game at all, and they got sliced and diced absolutely by Terry McLaurin. And, I'm just going to say it. I know I'm going to rub Eagle fans the wrong way here. Philly, I don't care what your record is. You're not that good. You're really not that good. I mean, who's the toughest team that Philly's beaten so far? The Cowboys without Dak Prescott? You beat the Vikings in week 2, but I mean, come on. When was the last time Kirk Cousins won a Monday Night Football game against a team that was not the Chicago Bears? I can't tell you. You almost blew it against Detroit. Almost blew it against Arizona. You needed overtime to beat them after you were up 17-0 on them at one point. You struggled big time against Houston, and you struggled against Jacksonville. You beat Washington once, and I can't remember who else you beat, but Philly, I mean, that 8-1 record they have is very misleading in my opinion. They had a very easy schedule, and it finally caught up to them. They really, and I mean really, overlooked Washington in that game, and that's why they lost. Taylor Heineke gives Washington the best chance at winning. Terry McLaurin, when he takes the field and when he's at 100%, he's probably as good as any receiver in the game. And if there's any team that Washington can snap their non-existent run game against, it's Philly. They don't have that great of a run defense. So yeah, I mean, that was a real bad loss for the Eagles right there. And they honestly should have lost by more than 11. Washington dominated that game pretty much. A dominant dominant third quarter, whatever, or end of the second quarter, and the Commanders were in the driver's seat early on. And now they're going up against an Indianapolis Colts team who's unpredictable as well, with a new head coach who's just saying, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to do what I can with these guys and hope for the best. Those are kind of games that Philly just overlooks, and I think it's going to be the same problem once again. I think the Eagles are going to overlook the Colts here, even though that they are favored by a lot in this game. So, that being said, do I think the Colts are good enough to beat the Eagles? I don't think so. I think Philly rebounds in this game, but like I said, I think Philly's going to overlook the Colts here, and I think it's going to be closer than it should be. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles in my spread game of the week, but I have the Colts covering. 30-25. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles to win this one, but I got the Colts covering because I'm just going to say it. Philly reminds me a lot of us from 2017. Underestimating opponents, playing down to competition, playing down to teams that they should absolutely crush. And it finally caught up to them. Nick Sirianni, you better turn the ship around because it's no longer a cakewalk for Philly. You're now just a game better than the Giants, and you're now just 2 games better than Dallas. And those two, they have you circled on the calendar 3 times. You still got to play the Giants twice, and you still got to go to Dallas to play the Cowboys. For what all intents and purposes, they'll have Dak Prescott in that game. Philly took a bad time to take an L, in my opinion. They really did. So I'm going to go Philly here to get the job done over the Colts and rebound, but I got the Colts covering. Next, we got the New York Jets and the New England Patriots. This one is in Foxborough. As both these teams are coming off their byes, actually. They both had bye weeks last week. Don't remember who they played, though. Oh, yeah, the Jets, they beat the Bills. And I believe the Patriots won as well. I don't remember who they played, but yeah, we got the Jets and the Patriots. Last time these two played, New England beat them. Again, Bill Belichick just don't lose to these guys. I got to say this about the Jets. They are playing really well right now, and Sauce Gardner, in my opinion, should be Defensive Rookie of the Year. I just don't know if I can fully trust the Jets as far as going against the AFC East goes. Or against New England, rather. I mean, the Patriots have beaten these guys 13 straight times. And the Patriots, I mean, they have a little bit of a quarterback dilemma as well. Mac Jones, as much as I think that he is the starting quarterback for New England, I just don't see him being elite, you know. Kind of reminds me of Alex Smith a little bit. And I think that New England has to just get it done with defense here. You know, that's how they beat the Jets the last time they played. I see this being a low-scoring defensive standoff here because Robert Saleh is just a really good defensive-minded coach, and I think that's just going to make all the difference in the world, and I think that New England just has to win it defensively because Belichick is capable of putting together a game plan like that. So, as much as I want to pick the Jets, I just can't pick them to beat the Patriots until the Jets actually beat New England. Because I picked the Jets to beat the Patriots the first time. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Until the Jets actually beat New England, I'm going to pick the Patriots to beat them every time. I don't care how good or bad they are. I'm going to go with New England to win a low-scoring defensive standoff once again. Complete the sweep of the Jets for the 7th year in a row. I'm going to go with the Patriots here. Now we get to my toilet bowl of the week. Los Angeles Rams and the New Orleans Saints down in New Orleans. Who would think that I'd be including the Rams in a toilet bowl this year? The Rams, as I said at the beginning, have to be the worst defending champions I've ever seen in my life. Now, to be fair, Matthew Stafford was injured in that Cardinals game, and he did not play. I think it was John Wolford, if that's his name, starting for the Rams. Some random guy, I don't know. But the point is, regardless of who the Rams have in that game, I just don't think it would have made much of a difference. The Rams are playing terrible right now. They can't do anything defensively. No one is standing up offensively. And the one guy that is doing something offensively is hurt. Cooper Kupp, injured. That is a death blow to the Rams right there. That is the last guy they can afford to lose outside of Aaron Donald. That is the last guy the Rams can afford to lose is Cooper Kupp. Without him, their offense is nothing. And I just think that's just going to spell disaster for the Rams here. Meanwhile, the New Orleans Saints, they aren't that great either. They lost to us 20-10. They couldn't get anything going offensively. Such is the life when 90's on the field right here. But yeah, you know, the Saints just couldn't get anything going. I mean, the Saints have been winning games, and the Saints have, you know, been putting points on the board, not because of Andy Dalton, but because of their run game. And when Alvin Kamara and or Taysom Hill don't get at least 115 yards on the ground, the Saints are winless this year. But I think this is a game where it cures all. The Rams' rush defense and their defense in general has just been atrocious this year. And I think if there is a game for the Saints to have a strong defensive game, this is going to kind of remind me of their game against Vegas. I don't think they'll shut out the Rams, but I do have the Saints winning this one simply because the Saints have more of an identity of where they're going right now. The Rams just look completely lost, and they're on a lengthy losing streak here, and I don't see it ending until they actually snap out of it, and things don't get easier. The Rams have a very tough schedule coming up ahead of them. And I honestly don't see how the Rams pick up a win, even with Matthew Stafford in the equation. I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints to get the job done over the Rams here. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the first time the Rams will be going back to New Orleans since the 2018 NFC Championship, the infamous no pass interference call. I think that's the first time. I could be wrong, though. But regardless, I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints to get the job done over the Rams. Next, we got the Detroit Lions and the New York Giants. This one is in MetLife, as the Lions, coming off a surprise come-from-behind win over the Chicago Bears, as the offense stepped up big time when they needed to. and the Lions were able to come back and get together a dub. That being said, Detroit's pass defense still looking real rusty. I mean, that could also be a product that the Bears are starting to play well on offense and things are starting to click for them. But, I mean, the Lions, they just have not had a good defense all year except for that Packer game back in Week 9. But Detroit, I think they need to really get a game plan as far as defense goes. For the New York Giants, they're 7-2 on the year. Remember when Daniel Jones was Danny Fumbles? Well, Daniel Jones has not turned the ball over in 6 weeks. So Daniel Jones has been doing much better for the Giants. He is really starting to play some good football. Not great football, but he's playing some good football for him. Saquon Barkley, I say it every week, he is my vote for Comeback Player of the Year. And I can't say enough with Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll doing some real good things over there in MetLife. I mean, sure, it was 24-16 over Houston, but the Texans pretty much got a garbage time score when the game was already over. That's very misleading. The Giants dominated in that one. I mean, I know Houston is the worst team in the league, but the Giants dominated them there. And this could be a little bit of a trap game for the Giants, in my honest opinion, because the Lions, they know how to put points on the board. However, if there's one thing that we do know about the Lions is that their offense doesn't seem to do well against potent defenses, as we've seen in the New England game and as we've seen in the Dallas game. The Giants, their defense can look pretty strong at times, and I think Brian Daboll is... I trust Brian Daboll. I think that he's doing a real good job over there in New York. And I don't see any reason why the Giants drop this game except for them taking Detroit lightly and the Lions putting together a solid offensive showing. But I'm going to go with the Big Blue once again to improve to 8-2. And who knows? The Giants could be in first place by the end of Week 11 because Washington just opened up the door for them. So I'm going to go with the New York Giants to get the job done over the Lions. I think the Giants smell blood here because Philly lost. And I don't know when these two play for the first time. It has to be soon, though. But I'm going to go with the New York Giants to get the job done over Detroit. Next, we got an easy one. We got the Carolina Panthers at the Baltimore Ravens. This one is in Baltimore. The Panthers defeated the Falcons on Thursday night. Whoop-de-doo, but, because Atlanta sucks and Carolina's just not a good team. I mean, you beat the Falcons. Like I said, whoop-de-doo. Nobody cares. You're still not a good team. Baltimore, they're coming off their bye week. John Harbaugh is going to get this team set together. Their defense is fully rested. Their offense is fully rested. Lamar Jackson putting together a really solid year. I literally see no reason why Baltimore loses this game. This is my lock of the week right here. I think this is pretty much everyone's lock of the week right here. No way the Ravens lose this one. I'm dead serious. There is no way Baltimore loses this one. I don't know who Carolina's starting in this one. I've heard rumors that Baker Mayfield could be starting for the Panthers in this one. And that's just even more reason to believe. Baker Mayfield never plays well against Baltimore. So if Baker plays, I think it's going to be an even bigger lock because honestly, I think PJ Walker gives them the best chance at winning. But regardless, I'm going to go with the Ravens to get the job done easily over the Panthers. This is my lock of the week. Next, we got the Washington Commanders at the Houston Texans. This one is down in Houston. Washington, they are the first team to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Kind of like how in 2020, when they were the football team, they were the first team to beat us. So it's a Pennsylvania thing. You're undefeated and your first loss is at the hands of Washington. So there you go right there. However, I will say, like I said in the Eagle entry, Taylor Heineke gives them the best chance at winning. Terry McLaurin is a really good receiver. And I think that Washington should have a really good day on the ground because the Texans just can't stop anything. I can't really name anything positive about Houston other than Davis Mills and Pierce being really good players for him. But that's just really all the Texans have going for them right now. So, what a transition. Commanders go from playing the undefeated Eagles to playing the worst team in the league in Houston. I think Washington gets this one. You know, I may start picking the Commanders a little bit more now just because they got the job done over Philly. You know, it is definitely possible, man. Like I said, Taylor Heineke gives them a good chance at winning. I think their defense steps up here playing Davis Mills. And, yeah, I mean, don't necessarily count Washington out of it. I mean, I think they dug themselves into too much of a hole early on, but I really don't think the Commanders are dead yet. They still have some breathing room, just not a lot of it. But, yeah, I'm going to go with the Commanders to get the job done over the Texans here. Next, we got the first later Sunday afternoon game as we got the Las Vegas Raiders going to Denver to play the Broncos. Oh, what a joy, this one. Vegas, you are trash. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about that anymore. You are absolute trash. How you lose to a team who just hired a guy off the couch who has no coaching experience at all. And not only do you lose to them, you blow a lead against them. Vegas, you're garbage. I have no respect for Vegas. I have no respect for the Raiders anymore. I really don't. I really don't know if I'm going to pick them for the rest of the season. This was my last chance for picking Vegas to win a game. And man, oh man, did they blow it big time. Denver, I mean, they're not a good team either. They kept it close with Tennessee, but the Broncos just can't score right now, and they just can't get anything going right now. You know? But I'm telling you this right now. Both these teams are trash. Both these teams suck. Again, this one was another strong candidate for my toilet bowl of the week. But I disrespect the Raiders so much that if they can lose to a head coach that was hired in the 11th hour in Jeff Saturday, I think they can lose to Nathaniel Hackett. That's right. I disrespect the Raiders so much, I'm actually picking the Broncos to beat them. When was the last time I picked Denver to win a game? Probably the Colts game. You know, that's how much I'm not respecting the Raiders right now. You guys ain't beating Nathaniel Hackett. You're not beating Russell Wilson right now. After how you blew it to Jeff Saturday, I don't give a damn what your winning record streak is against the Broncos. You're taking an L to them, and you're going to fall to 2-8. And honestly, Vegas could lose out. They really could. That's what happens when you're 0-6 in one-possession games. And that's what happens when you can't close out a team and literally anything bad that can happen to you happens. I said Denver was going to finish last in the AFC West before the season began. At least the Broncos can get something going. And at least if the Broncos have a lead, they ain't going to squander it. You guys, however, will. And that's why I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos to get the job done over the Raiders. Now we got the game of the week right here. Dallas Cowboys, Minnesota Vikings. This one is up in Minneapolis. As the Cowboys coming off, like I said, inexcusable loss to the Green Bay Packers. They had the game won. It was 28-14 in the fourth quarter. You take your foot off the gas pedal there, and instead of kicking a long field goal, you decide to go for it on 4th and 4. All you have to do is kick the field goal. You know, Cowboys defense folded like a cheap tent when it mattered most. And now they're going up against Minnesota's potent offense right there. I know the Cowboys have a real good history of beating Kirk Cousins. But this Vikings team, if you don't think something special isn't happening with this Vikings team, I don't know what to tell you. They won that game in the most improbable way I've ever seen against the Buffalo Bills. It rivals the Minneapolis Miracle in my opinion. The Bills fumble it after the Vikings get stopped at the goal line and they recover it for a touchdown. And then the game goes to overtime. Vikings kick a field goal and then they pick off Josh Allen again. The Vikings would have lost that game 3 years ago or even last year. You know, this Vikings team is for real. And I think, honestly, right now, I think they're the best team in the league right now. I mean, sure, Philly beat them in week 2. But if you ask me who the better team is between the Vikings and the Eagles right now, I honestly think it's Minnesota. Their defense can give opponents a hard time at times, but I just think they need to build off it a little bit more. I mean, they can cause a lot of pressure. I like the Vikings front. They are capable of getting a couple of sacks in every game. But yeah, as long as you got Dalvin Cook running for big gains, and as long as you got Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen giving everyone second and third degree burns, and Kirk Cousins being careful with the ball, the Vikings are going to be a very hard team to beat in the playoffs. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a matchup of two quarterbacks that are notorious for losing games against teams that are over 500. But my takeaway is this. At least with Kirk Cousins, it generally only happens in prime time, mostly Monday Night Football. Dak Prescott never really seemed to have that pedigree to where he can go out there and he can beat one of the elite teams. It's never struck me that way. I think this has all the potential, again, to be Game of the Year. You know? Back-to-back weeks, the Vikings could be involved in Game of the Year. I think that it's going to be a matchup of two real good running backs right there in Pollard and Cook. So I think that both these teams are very similar as far as their star power and their explosion factor goes. But I just like Minnesota's defense a little bit better in this one. They come up with some timely turnovers, and I just think that the Vikings are a much more better coached team than the Cowboys are right now. They have experience with beating Mike McCarthy. They know him very well because Mike McCarthy was Green Bay's coach all those years. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword. Mike McCarthy can beat them too. So this is an instance of whenever I'm unsure of who to pick, I go home team. And that's what I'm going to do here. I like the Vikings in this one. Not just because they're the home team, but because I just think they're a little bit more complete than the Cowboys are right now. I trust them with a lead better than the Cowboys. I trust them to close out a game better than the Cowboys do. You know, the Cowboys, outside of Chicago and Detroit, they generally have a hard time with the NFC East, especially going to NFC East teams' venues. And that's my difference right there. Minnesota, I think they continue their role right here. The Vikings have the hotter hand here. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings to get the job done over the Cowboys. Then we got my game. Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers in Heinz Field. This was the original Sunday Night Football game for this week, but it got flexed. I mean, in a way, it's still going to be on Sunday night. It's just not going to be on NBC because the game starts at 4:25. I mean, the sun's going to be setting at that time, and it's going to be like pitch black at halftime, early second quarter even. But you get the point. It is Sunday Night Football, but it's not Sunday Night Football. But anyway, Bengals and the Steelers. Bengals are coming off their bye week. We all know what happened the last time these two teams played. It was an overtime that was on drugs. I mean, just everything unimaginable that you could possibly thought of happened. And I have to say the Bengals look like a much better team since that game. I don't know if Jamar Chase is going to be playing this game for the Bengals, but if he isn't, that gives me a little bit more confidence for this one. But you got to know, Jamar Chase wasn't much of a factor in week 1, but still, you still got to worry about guys like T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. and you got to be able to stop the run with Joe Mixon. But now that you got 90 back there for us, pairing up with Larry Ogunjobi, and I think Cam Hayward's going to be good to go for this one, I think we're going to be able to stop the run pretty well. Joe Burrow, doesn't really seem to respond well to pressure, and the Bengals, the Bengals O-line, as we all know, gives up a lot of sacks. We sacked Burrow 7 times in week 1. And with guys like Alex Highsmith coming in, having a breakout year so far, and now with TJ Watt back in the mix, the Bengals could be in trouble in this game. However, I think one thing for us that we're going to be missing this game, it's going to be Minkah. Minkah Fitzpatrick is going to be out in this game. He's expected to miss some time. And, of course, even though it's not the entire reason, but it doesn't help us, Boswell is going to be out for an extended time, so we have to rely on Matthew Wright, who badly missed 2 field goals for us. I don't know, man. I mean, I really want to believe we can complete the sweep of the Bengals. I believe we can. Because it just seems like we have, we have like their weakness, which is pressure. We can get up in their face. We can get to Burrow. We can make them work. We can make them play quarterback. It's Joe Burrow's start to lose, so make him lose it. But the question is, can we be consistent with offense? You see how everything is going around the fact that, it's not just TJ Watt's injury is why this team is 3-6. Do you see why now? It's the play calling on offense. And I'm going to cover more of this in my pregame. Matt Canada, if he's going to stay here, he needs to at least tell these receivers, okay, one of you is going to run a go route, one of you is going to run a wheel route, and then we're going to have someone here be our short yardage guy, and we're going to have Steve Sims be in the slot. That's the very least Matt Canada can do if he's going to stay as OC. Personally, I think we should interview Frank Reich. But if Matt Canada is going to finish up here, at least do that. Because every single time that I saw receivers run around against the Saints on Sunday, I swear it was a 2-yard out pattern. Every single time. I think Kenny Pickett's capable of using his legs. I think Kenny Pickett, well, no, not even that I think it. I know it. Because he QB snuck for a touchdown, and he QB snuck for 2 first downs before that. So we know Kenny Pickett can use his legs. We know that he can make some smart decisions, but the Bengals defense is tough. They're going to be going into Pittsburgh saying, like, we lost these guys in week 1. Now they're starting a rookie quarterback, a guy who they're confident to be their franchise guy in the long term. We're going to play tough defense here. That's the mismatch right there. The Bengals defense is better than our offense. And with us not having a true number 1 receiver for this game, I don't like it when people say, well, we have George Pickens. Look, I love George Pickens. George Pickens is a very good football player so far. But it's way too early to call him a number 1 receiver. Okay? He's just not there yet. I think he has potential to be a number 1 receiver, but he's just not there yet. Plain and simple. You're not going to beat the Bengals with, stuff like, reverse end sweeps or exotic flea flickers or whatever. You have to be aggressive and assertive with them. This is AFC North football right here, and you got to come in a dogfight. Plain and simple. I don't give a crap what your record is. The Browns did it to them, and the Browns have the same record as us. We did it to them in week 1. This game, this is another fist fight that we're going to have to win. This is another boxing match that we're going to have to win here. And with the bad offensive play calling that we had, I'm sorry, guys, I just don't see how we get it done. I want to pick us to beat the Bengals. I really do. I want us to have the upset. I want us to complete the sweep of them. But I just don't see how we get the job done. Bengals are coming off their bye. Our play calling has not changed. I mean, we had some glimpses where the offense was looking good. But glimpses aren't going to win you games. Hate to say it, but I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals to get the split. I mean, I had a splitting with the Bengals before the season began, but it doesn't mean I have to like it. But yeah, Bengals win this one, in my opinion, although I am going to be rooting for my guys till I'm blue in the face. Next, we got Sunday Night Football. Check your local listings as we got the Kansas City Chiefs at the LA Chargers. This one is in SoFi. The Chiefs are 7-2. They are currently the number 1 seed in the AFC because Buffalo lost. And the Chargers are 5-4, if I'm not mistaken. Coming off a Sunday Night Football loss to the 49ers. I think I figured that out with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is overrated. Not Kirk Cousins. Justin Herbert is overrated. Why did I say Kirk Cousins? Because that's who he reminds me of. He just doesn't play well in primetime like Kirk Cousins. He just doesn't strike me as that kind of guy who under the lights and under pressure plays well. He's been in the league 3 years. I have yet to see it. This is a guy that I really overrated coming into this season. I think a lot of people did. I just don't see what's so special about Justin Herbert. I just don't think he's a clutch quarterback. I don't think he's a winning ball player. And I just don't think that he plays with any sort of urgency unless it's against a bad team. I mean, yeah, he's beaten Kansas City a couple of times, but the Chiefs didn't really have a good defense. Now, they're going home to play Kansas City. And, by the way, Patrick Mahomes, I believe, is undefeated on the road against AFC West opponents. And I think that trend continues there. I think he's going to continue to use Travis Kelce here because Juju Smith-Schuster took a very nasty injury against the Jaguars. Hopefully he's okay. And now he has a new favorite. Now he has a new guy in Kadarius Toney from the New York Giants who had his first career touchdown reception. So as much as I think the Chargers will hang in there with them, in the end, I just don't think that the Chargers hang on and win. I mean, LA is just an inconsistent team. Inconsistency just never wins you games. I mean, there are moments where the Chargers look like a legitimate Super Bowl contender, and then it just disappears. And I know the Chargers have like a laundry list of injuries, but even when they're healthy, I really don't buy them all that much. I said this team was going to win the AFC West before the season began. I think it's Kansas City's once again. Until someone dethrones the Chiefs, I'm going to say Kansas City wins the AFC West once again. So I think this game solidifies it. I think this game puts it out of reach for the Chargers. I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs to get the job done here over the Chargers. Wrapping up Week 11, we got a game in Mexico City at Aztec Stadium, I believe it's called, as the 49ers head on down to Mexico City to play the Cardinals. 49ers got the job done on Sunday Night Football against the Chargers, and they're 5-4, still alive in the playoff hunt, while the Cardinals dominated the LA Rams. And the Cardinals, they needed that one badly. I still don't think they're a very good team, but they needed that one badly to keep their heads above water. But yeah, 49ers and the Cardinals down in Mexico. 49ers defense is looking real tough. Their offense isn't particularly great, but I think if you get CMC involved in this one and you utilize Deebo Samuel here, I think Jimmy Garoppolo is good to go. Cardinals defense, I think, is just on red alert for this one. as, they played a real bad slumping Rams team. 49ers have yet to lose to an NFC West opponent, and I just think that Arizona's going to get caught off guard with San Francisco's defense here. This is a game that Cliff Kingsbury just loves to lose, like these kind of matchups right here, going up against a potent San Francisco defense here. And I think that they're going to be chasing around Kyler Murray all night long. The Cardinals, I think, can hang in there, but as far as the better overall team goes for right now, I think it's the 49ers. That win against the Rams doesn't really change my mind about the Cardinals. I still think that it's kind of like a lost cause for them. But I like San Francisco in this one to get the job done over the Cardinals and improve to 6-4, drop Arizona down back to potentially last place in the NFC West. Give me the 49ers to get the job done over the Cardinals here. And that'll do it. Those are my Week 11 picks of the 2022 NFL season. And let's have a better week than 7-7. This is Steel Sermon checking on out for the night. May God be with you all.